Being rich doesn't always pay off. That's true for the famous people in this video. After they died, their estates were raked over the coals in courts. After these famous people died, their wills and testaments were followed by a lot of drama, family arguments, and questions about their mental abilities. There are thousands or even millions of dollars at stake in each of these lawsuits, and each one sounds like the plot of a Lifetime movie. Watch this video to learn about some of Hollywood's worst family feuds. Jimi Hendrix. Year 1970 to 2002. Estimated amount $80 million. Jimi Hendrix died without a will, which means he didn't leave one. His lawyer took care of the Hendrix estate for 20 years until Jim's dad, Al, sued to get the right to handle the famous guitarist's songs, and Al won the case. When he died in 2002, Jimmy's $80 million fortune was given to Janie, who was adopted by Al. Leon, Jimmy's brother, tried to take the fortune for himself but lost the court case. Then, in a movie worthy of an NBC court show, he was sued for selling illegal goods. Aaron Spelling. Year 2006. Estimated amount $600 million. There are times when father knows best is very true. A movie director named Aaron Spelling left behind a $600 million fortune. His daughter, star Tori Spelling, got some of his money, although Aaron, who created Beverly Hills 90210 for Fox, knew that his daughter loved shopping. He only left her $800,000 as a gift. However, this didn't change Tori's spending habits. In 2023, the daughter was taken to court because she owed the IRS more than $1.3 million. Aretha Franklin. Year 2018 to present. Estimated amount $6.7 million. People sometimes die without leaving a legal will, but the legendary soul singer Aretha Franklin had more than one will. After Franklin died in 2018, 3 handwritten wills were found at her home in Detroit. Then a 4th one showed up in a law office. The different wills have caused problems, issues, and other outcomes that were not meant because they have different directions about what Aretha wanted to do with her $6.7 million estate. There is enough unclear information in this court case to make a Netflix movie about it. James Gandolfini. Year 2013. Estimated amount $70 million. There was no warning when actor and producer James Gandolfini died at the age of 61 in 2013. When he died, his fortune was worth about $70 million, and his will was looked over by a lot of people. The IRS took half of Gandolfini's estate after a careful study of his will and estate, which was bad news for the actor's family. Uncle Sam took most of it, but some of it was given to family members, including Gandolfini's kids from his first 2 marriages. James Brown. Year 2006. Estimated amount $5 to $100 million. James Brown, the singer who was known as the Godfather of Soul, died of heart failure in 2006 when he was 73 years old. His wealth is said to be worth between $5 and $100 million. Brown said that $4 million would go to his children, and the rest would go to I Feel Good, charity he set up to help kids who don't have much. Tommy Brown, Brown's wife, tried to challenge the will but failed. The judge called her case against the quite clear will bothersome. Alan Thicke. 2016 to 2018. Estimated amount $16 million. When Alan Thicke died in 2016, his estate went through a battle that showed what can happen when a mixed family starts fighting through lawyers. Because they were afraid that Thicke's 3rd wife, who was also their grandmother, would take his $16 million estate, 2 of his boys sued her. The boys were afraid that the stepmother would get out of the prenup that she and Alan had made. In the end, everyone agreed, but the ABC star's estate was stuck for 2 years. Leona Helmsley. 2007. Estimated amount $5 billion. Leona Helmsley was a real estate mogul who died in 2007. She was thought to have been worth $5 billion when she died. Leona asked that some of her money be given to charity and a few family members in her will. Helmsley didn't leave him a $5 Chewy toy. Instead, she gave $12 million to her dog, Trouble. Her grandkids, who didn't get nearly as much as Trouble, fought the will. Trouble's wealth was finally cut down to just $2 million by a judge, who then gave the rest to charity. As a reward, Helmsley gave 3 of her grandkids $3 million each. Michael Jackson, year 2009, estimated amount $2 million. There was more to Michael Jackson than his music. The king of pop loved animals. He gave his monkey Bubbles a $2 million fortune that would be given to Bubbles after Jackson's death. Before Jackson died, Bubbles moved because the chimp was getting mean, and Jackson was afraid he'd hurt his young son. Even though Bubbles was moved to an animal refuge, his $2 million fortune was always a hot topic, making headlines at WBD, the New York Times, Fox, and other big news sources. Farrah Fawcett, year 2009. Estimated amount $6 million. Farrah passed away on June 25, 2009, after a long battle with cancer. She was 62 years old. Fawcett gave most of her $6 million fortune to Red, her only son. She also left her father and nephew money in her will and gave her ex-boyfriend Greg Lott $100,000. Ryan O'Neal didn't get anything. Someone who knew Farrah well and was with her when she died, Mila Murphy, said that her last words were about her son. She called his name Redmond. "I told her I'd take care of him and be there for him always," she said. She was going to die soon, so she said, "Leave now." Nora Ephron, year 2012. Estimated amount $27 million. It's said that Nora Ephron left behind an estate worth $27 million when she died in 2012. Long after she and her ex-husband, writer Carl Bernstein, had split up, she left most of her money to her 3 children and her 2 boys from her first marriage. When Ephron died, she only left her sisters a few $100,000. This caused a lot of trouble in the family. The famous author's movies such as Sleepless in Seattle and When Harry Met Sally played in AMC Entertainment Holdings Inc. theaters and other theaters around the world for decades. In the 2010s, her estate became the subject of a real-life dramatic book because of the way her inheritances were split up. Liliane Bettencourt, year 2010 to 2017. Estimated amount $40.9 billion. There was a time when Liliane Bettencourt was the richest woman in France. Bettencourt was the heiress to the L'Oreal makeup and skincare business. Her daughter questioned whether the heiress could write a will while she was still living, and the heiress's estate was worth $40.9 billion. Bettencourt's daughter was worried that over 20 years her mother had given François-Marie Beignet $1.5 billion in gifts, mostly in the form of art, cash, and life insurance. In 2010, Bettencourt's daughter questioned her mother's ability to handle affairs, which led to estate disputes before Liliane died in 2017. Gene Roddenberry, year 1991. Estimated amount $500 million. A famous scriptwriter named Gene Roddenberry helped make Star Trek, which is still one of the most popular sci-fi shows of all time. Roddenberry died in 1991 at the age of 70. Leaving behind a fortune of $500 million. Roddenberry's will had a no-contest language that made it impossible for his heirs, 3 kids from 2 different marriages, to challenge the formal document. He warned his daughter Dawn that she could lose her fortune if she challenged the will. She did, and she lost $500,000 and all rights to Roddenberry's estate. Wellington Burt, year 1919 to 2013. Estimated amount $1.5 billion. While he was alive, Wellington Burt was a rich lumber baron. He died in 1919. His will was very strange. Burt told his family that they would not get any of his $1.5 billion inflation-adjusted estate after a fight with them. Burt instead said that his family would not be able to get his money until 21 years after his last grandchild died. So Burt's money wasn't given to his children, but 12 people he had never met until 2013. John Lennon, year 1980 to 1996. Estimated amount $502 million. Tragically and quickly, John Lennon died in 1980. The news that the legendary Beatles member was no longer with us shocked the whole world. The $502 million estate of John Lennon was given to Yoko Ono, his wife, and his lawyer after he died. The key people who were supposed to get the money were Ono and her son Sean, but Julian, Lennon's son from a previous marriage, was only given a trust fund. Julian fought Lennon's will, and 16 years later, he's said to have made a $30.5 million deal with Yoko Ono. Fred Koch and the Koch brothers. Year 1981 to 2001. Estimated amount $2.3 billion. Koch Industries is a billion-dollar energy company that Fred Koch started. Fred's 4 kids fought over their father's billion-dollar wealth for almost 20 years after he died. 2 of Fred's boys, Frederick and William, said they were cheated out of $2.3 billion of that money, which was at the heart of the argument. Frederick and William said Fred's other 2 boys, Charles and David, stole money from them when they sold their Koch Industries shares. The 4 brothers finally agreed, and in 2001, after years of only talking through lawyers, they got back together. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon